Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Joe. I'm from the YouTube channel Confessions from a Dangerous Mind, and this is Art.
Hey, yeah, like he said, my name is Art. I am from the YouTube channel Leo's Mind. So,
And we are making this channel right now. This is going to be our joint channel. Wrap your mind around this. And we're going to talk about similar topics that we're going to discuss on our solo channels. We really want to talk about our experiences with our past trauma, experiences with addiction, and also challenges with mental health.
yeah, of course. And also, with that being said, how we overcame it, tools that we use, also techniques that we've learned over the years, and how we've just became better people, better men. And I think it would be a great insight and perspective, from two different sides of the coin. Like for me, example, I grew up in poverty, right? And I am speaking from the community of the LGBTQIA2S plus, and Joe is a hetero.
Yep. Yeah, and my upbringing, fortunately, we were more middle class. Like Art just said, I think this is going to be an interesting channel. There's a lot of similarities that we share both in our kind of current recovery as well as our pasts, but there's, of course, a lot of different differences as well. So we're hoping that this can be relatable to a bunch of different people. Hopefully, we'll provide some inspiration or some insight into what it's like to struggle with substance abuse and mental health. And also, like he said, what techniques that we use to improve get over our challenges and be successful in our recovery and live a healthy life.
And you know what, Joe? I want to go back to what you said, the word recovery. I want to first address that and break down a little bit of stigmatism on that, right? When an individual, I know for myself, speaking in the past, when somebody just said recovery, my first thought immediately went to substance abuse only, right? But I later found out recovery is a thing that myself, and individuals can do. Recovery is mental health, spiritual health, physical health, emotional, and substance abuse, right? So recovery is all these different kind of areas that one must at first admit they need and want the help, and then seek it. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Art brings up a great point. For before I started my journey into active recovery, I've always fought with trying to be sober, and I thought that sobriety and recovery were synonymous. I thought that meant the same thing, but no, that's definitely not the case. The way Art described it, I consider recovery to be more of a lifestyle. It's not just, hey, I'm going to quit substances. It's recovering our previous life from before we had struggles with mental illness or struggles with substance use. And yeah, you can be in recovery from all sorts of different things. And, it's just all about changing your life and trying to stay positive and move forward. So yeah, that's a great point.
Awesome. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background about myself at this point. I grew up in poverty. I'm one of 8. I am the only child, though, from my mother and my father. I am Hispanic and, Native American. I had a very rough upbringing. My reality wasn't the typical normal. I mean, my reality was just, going to a lot of funerals. By the age of like 10, I went to over 20 funerals, right? That was a normal thing, right? Drugs and violence was a normal thing, so I thought. and and there was a lot of verbal, physical abuse that I endured, that had, you know, kicked off a years of trauma, right? And now I am in therapy with an amazing therapist, and I just want to say, um, I was ashamed to be in therapy when I, or even to admit that I needed help, or, I was going through something, right? Because as a Hispanic male, even as an indigenous person, right? We shouldn't say we need help, right? Or we should just automatically be able to handle it or toughen it out or just write it out, right? But so there was a lot of shame and guilt when I was younger. Today I have no shame, I have no guilt. I seek therapy because therapy is great for me. And the the therapist that I'm working with, he's a trauma specialist. I do have CPTSD. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's a complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So, yeah, everybody that has CPTSD or PTSD don't have to be inside of the war, right? It's just trauma that individual has endured and overcame. And with that, I've learned how to cope, learned how to manage, learned how to what is the word I'm looking for? Learned how to really digest and comprehend and, put in my long-term memory box, like, what the freak really happened to me when I was younger. So, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. Anyway, point is, that was a little bit of my childhood. But as time goes on throughout this channel, you guys will find a lot more about me. I don't want to take too much of your time. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, come on, Art. No, I'm just kidding. I lose my train of thought in my videos all the time, too. But just like you said, this is more of an introduction video. Over time, one of our goals is to talk about both of our stories and our adventures. And I'm not sure if this is what you were kind of referring to, but for me, at least, a lot of it has been processing what has happened in our earlier life and coming to terms with it. Because as much as I would like to in the past, go back in the past and change the past, you can't do that. That doesn't happen. So really the healthy way to move.
We can't do that?
No, we can't. Oh. No. Well, I guess technically when people are watching this, we're in the past. I don't know. We'll probably upload this right after the video, but now you made me lose my train of thought.
My bad. I'll try not to do that.
But yeah, no, process what has happened, accept it, and I can relate to the shame and guilt. Unfortunately, there's still a stigma when it comes to mental health and substance use. It's hard for people, and I don't blame them, but it's hard for people to not look at those people that struggle with those issues as bad people. I think I've heard, we're good people, but we make bad choices or have made bad choices. But we're not defined by our choices we've made in the past. We're defined by who we are currently and moving forward. So I'm not going to go too much into my story either, but as mentioned in the beginning of the video, I grew up kind of more middle class. Did move around a lot growing up, lived in several different states. And I've always been kind of a loner, a gamer and a loner. So that's where my foray into substances went. I was just so interested in trying to change my consciousness in any way, shape, or form, because typically I was bored or just really didn't have anything better to do. I've come to learn, and I'm sure you have too, Art, is you really need that social connection. That's a key piece that has been missing for me in my active recovery since last March. my current clean date is March 30th of this year. So it's taken a lot of tries, and learned a lot of things from each slip and stumble here and there. One last thing I want to mention is with my history, I am a polysubstance abuser. Anything that, could change my consciousness, I was down for. One thing that I talked about on my channel is my use of laughing gas nitrous, and I mentioned a story about being arrested. I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, we're hoping that we can share. We'll have some interesting things to talk about, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And how we kind of deal with life currently.
Yeah, most definitely. And you guys might even find out how I met this dude. But anyways, if you enjoyed what you heard and you want to know more about it, you know what to do. And talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.